Now, wow, guess what? On this board, I'm going to share with you 5 red flags that money hates you and you have a poor relationship with your money. By the way, let me tell you one thing. Anything that you relate with and you don't have a good relationship, there must be a certain factors that are contributing that one. That is what I'm going to share with you. Stick around, watch this video to the end. For God's sake, it's only 15 minutes, okay? So stick around and watch it to the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new good video. Let's see. Now, one thing that you're supposed to understand, there's some of the things that you bear yourself that are actually considered as money red flags. Number one, you avoid talking about it. You avoid talking about it. You avoid talking about it. Listen, most of the people avoid to talk about something that they know they don't want to be accountable for. Or two, they will avoid talking about something that they know they don't have a well grasp of the information about that particular thing. Number three, people avoid talking about something when they have a trauma about that particular thing. Or number four, I'm going to share that at the end. Now, you avoid talking about it. What? Money. You don't like talking about it. You don't believe that someone can tell you anything about the cash. You believe you're wise. You believe you're okay. You believe you don't hear anything from somebody. You can go with it. You can invest by yourself, blah, 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 and such kind of things. Now, when you avoid talking about it, you know what happens? You cannot grow by only that what you know. You grow by being challenged on that what you know. And that's why I always tell people, please leave a comment on the comment section so that you can challenge me. I get challenged on the comment section, because you never know who is watching your video. That's why I have to do an extensive research of whatever I am uploading. So whenever you get challenged, someone says, hey, you know what, this and this, and you're like, wow, that's true. I mean, yeah, that guy has a point anyway. We learn from each other, just like an iron sharpens another iron. That's why I love to say almost each and every time. See, when you avoid talking about it, it's actually a red flag. By the way, whether you are dating, whether you have a wife or a husband or whatever, and you find somebody is avoiding to talk about it, probably most of the people you find they never love to talk about their past, especially if their past is not so good. So you avoid to talk about it. Why? Probably you have some traumas based on that. So there is actually a what? A red flag. So you are supposed to talk about it. And when I say talk about it, not by bragging by how much you have, how much you make, and what have you. I wish you talk about like, hey, you know what? How do I organize my finances? By the way, there is this animal called the financial freedom. What is it? How is it achievable? By the way, can I spot out an individual who has already achieved this financial freedom? What exactly did they do? What exactly route did they follow for them to achieve that particular thing? You talk about it like, hey, you know what? I love the way you do your things. I would like to borrow a leaf from whatever you do. Would you mind if maybe you can take me through this and that? Oh, and by the way, I would like to contact my financial advisor so that they tell me, these are professionals. Or by the way, I would like to visit an investment bank where they can show me where I can be able to invest and and such kind of thing. Now, when you avoid talking about it, it actually screams out there that indeed you have or you possess a financial red flag that is not so good about it. Okay? And number three, or rather number two, as far as the red flag are concerned, hope you got that point correctly with you. Number two, you never practice delayed gratification. Okay, forget my camera. My camera is showing. Okay, now you don't practice. Okay, you avoid, or should I say, you poor at practicing what we call delayed gratification. By the way, I don't know whether you know this. Only children are the ones who are allowed to practice this, what we call instant gratification. Why? Because when a child, let's say I'm recording this video and there is a child around, and let's say he or she gets mesmerized by the pen that I'm using. Okay, for those who have kids can understand what I'm talking about. You find the kid, maybe you can be eating and then the kid so mesmerized, like, what is this guy is using? I want to grab it. The kid grabs the spoon and what have you, and they don't negotiate. It has to be now. I need to have that pen. I need to grab that. I need to have a hold of the way you are holding that thing, because they are curious and what have you. So when it comes to kids, especially at their lower age they really don't practice what we call the delayed gratification. A kid cannot negotiate with the, let's say they want to hold that spoon. They cannot negotiate, be like, you know what, you just finish up. I'm going to hold that spoon later. No, they just grab it, all right? So you have that problem when it comes to money. The moment you have the cash, you never practice what we call the delayed gratification. You're this kind of a guy who usually have this mentality of, you know what, you throw party after party, you want to get it just because you can afford it, or just because you have the money to buy it, you simply buy it without even considering what there can be the repercussions of you purchasing that thing at this particular moment and such. So you end up just buying that thing, you end up just purchasing that thing without even having a prior thought. And that is what we call instant gratification. Whereas it is actually so much important to practice what we call the delayed gratification. Listen, I did not never buy. See, the word delayed is to little bit delay that gratification. You just delay it. You just simply prolong it. And you're not prolonging it because we are telling you to sacrifice the rest of your life. No, we're simply saying just delay just a little bit. Let's say you were to buy a car this year and you're like, you know what? Let me prioritize other things, probably an investment or acquisition of an asset that is bringing in some cash flow in my pocket. I delay this by only 1 year, then I can acquire, this particular car next year once I've secured the means of servicing and fueling this particular car. It does not mean necessarily that you'll never buy a car. We aren't talking about that you should not buy a car. No, we are saying delayed. Okay, you see, but there's something that says that justice delayed is how is it? I was about to contradict myself and I said justice delayed is justice denied. Delayed is not denied, if I may say that. Now, that is what we say you pour at what? Practicing what we call delayed gratification. It's actually a sign of a red flag, financial red flag, that you should work on it. If you operate emotionally, and by the way, those people who go for the instant gratification are usually most of the people who usually make what we call the emotional based decisions when it comes to money. They get the cash, they just want to buy that thing now, no negotiation, no nothing, I have to have it. And that is what we call instant gratification, and can actually get yourself into lots of problems. Let's go check it out. Number 3. And number 3 is when we say what? You put other people's financial needs before yours. You put other people's financial needs before yours. Okay, I don't know what I should write. That's a very long sentence. You put other people financial needs before yours. If I read my Bible, tells me love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it has to be an element of you loving yourself for them to love them with the equal love as you love yourself. Let me repeat that. My Bible tells me love your neighbor as you love yourself. So there must be some essence, or there must be some traces of you loving yourself. And then you love them with the equal measure. But now you find there are people who they are kind of sacrifice themselves. What they do, they put other people, before them. And sure, I know somebody be like, but it's good to help. Absolutely, I'm not saying you shouldn't. But by the way, there is a previous video that I made when I said generosity without wisdom is actually useless. It does not help anybody, including you, who is actually being generous. Now, what happened? But it does not violate the principle of giving. Principle of giving, if you can go read about the principle of giving, it's quite amazing. Now, see, when you put other people in front of you, or when I say when you put other people before you, financially can actually have some mishap. And this is the situation whereby you got, say you have your family. Of course, you need to take care of your family. You need, say, to grow them, take them to the next level. But here you are, you prioritizing other people or other things. And then it comes to a situation whereby even your family is not even standing, but then here you are doing other things. Even forget about your family. Let's talk about yourself. The life is not about the family. It's about sure, you, and of course, to some extent, because for me, this is how I usually view my life, and this is me. I'm not saying this is how it should be. I'm saying me. For me, everything that comes first is God, because God existed before me. Then me, I existed before anyone else. Okay, before I got a family, me existed before them. So it is God, me, then them, then the way it follows that. Okay, sure, that may be contested on the comment section, but anyway, everyone has their own philosophy and principles and such. Okay, I respect yours. Okay, I hope you do respect mine as well. Now, what happens is that when you put other people before you, you actually mean that you're not actually practicing what we call, safeguarding your future in terms of the finances, making sure that you're putting yourself, what we call the life insurance. You're not investing for the sake of one day that you ain't gonna be working and you need to pay your bills. You're not investing in terms of growing yourself, developing yourself, upping yourself with skills that are necessary, to sort of, compete in the current world that you're living in and what have you. So that can actually bring in a lot of problems and a lot of mishaps out there. Help other people, true, but at the same time, make sure that you pay yourself. For God's sake, you are the asset in that equation. Let's say it's you and the people that you're helping. The people that you're helping, they depend on you, and you also depend on you. So you have to take care of you. Are we together? Because if there is no you, the other people won't get help as much as also you won't get help. So let's take care of you first. Let's make sure that everyone is safe. Are we together? Now, that's why when you have kids, you as a man, you don't, as a lady, if you're the breadwinner, you don't just risk yourself anyhowly. That's why if you see a disaster or a trouble, you just run away as fast as you can, because you know you have a family at home who depends on you, because you want to take care of you, because if there is no you, then someone somewhere will actually suffer, including you. Now we go to the fourth one. That is about, the financial red flags. That is actually very, very big problem, and none other than people pleasing. You're a people pleaser. People pleasing, people pleasing. What does that mean? People pleasing. You're this kind of a guy who you can go to an extent of using your money just to prove a point to people. And by the way, there is a there is a research I'm doing. There is a research I'm doing. And the research I'm doing is quite interesting. I'm trying to figure out whether there is a connection of low self-esteem compared to, or rather, let me paraphrase this. I'm trying to figure out whether there is a connection between someone having low self-esteem or low self-esteem with the usage of money to prove a point or to show some essence to an individual. For example, let's say you have a low self-esteem and you buy yourself a Mercedes Benz. Everyone respects a Mercedes Benz because it's a good machine. So if you have a low self-esteem, you don't believe yourself, you don't believe you can show up to somewhere, or you can show up to people and talk to them, as you yourself. You don't even trust yourself. So you end up purchasing that kind of machine, so that you pull over with that machine. So even though they disrespect you, they will respect the fact that, wow, you were able to achieve that particular kind of a machine. So they are kind of relating you with the machine. So they're like, okay, if that head of yours achieved, or that brain of yours was able to achieve this Mercedes Benz, then I'm likely to trust you of whatever you're gonna tell me, or something like that. So I'm trying to see whether they're kind of because I've ever met people who have money but they can't even express themselves. And I don't mean like if you cannot be able to express yourself does not mean you have so low self-esteem. I'm trying to see whether there is a connection. That's why I'm saying it is still a theory that I'm actually working on, and hypotheses and what have you, and seeing whether there is any kind of correlation of something like that. Because I usually find people using a lot of money, especially the people pleaser. You find someone is really struggling, really struggling to show like, I'm doing good, I'm not struggling, I'm making some cash. I usually follow some guys here, of which I won't mention. They are celebrities, and they, you find somebody, just a mere individual somewhere, said, hey, you know what, you're telling us what, and you're suffering. Then the next video the guy makes responding to that guy, showing your house, showing your car, showing some other things, that the businesses that you run. For me, I think the self-confidence will come from inside of you. Like, I don't have to really show you what I have for me to prove your point there. I mean, if you can be, if such a simple single comment can take your attention, then let's not get there. But I hope you guys, you know what I'm talking about. See, people pleasing. Don't use your money to people please, to buy yourself the attention, to be out there. It's actually one of the red flags that is actually there. You find somebody has money, and just because you have money, you tend to render everyone useless. Like the way you order food, you are so kind of commanding to the waitresses and the waiters, the way you pull up, let's say, to a parking lot, the way you just talk to people, it kind of shows up that, what, you're simply using that what you have to kind of build yourself a confidence. You're being rude and what have you. So it's actually a way that can actually affect your finances in one way or the other. And the last one, but not the least, of course, is none other than having what? You can't be able to say no. Okay? You can't be able to say no. That is actually a what? That is actually a red flag. You can't say no. Can't say no. Can't say no. And let me tell you one thing. No is a complete statement. It's a complete sentence. When you say no, hey Joseph, you got no, done. Yeah, sure. I know when you say no, it kind of appears a bit rude and will, oh my goodness, you don't say no. Yeah, sure. You see, we are living in the, I don't know whether you've realized one thing, the current world that you're living in this 21st century. People are so emotional, emotionally elevated to a point whereby if you tell somebody no, they haven't rebel, you are a narcissist, you are callous, you are nonchalant, you don't care, you are arrogant, you are rude, just because you said no. And by the way, I'm not seeing any becoming better. I'm just seeing this becoming worse and worse and worse as the time goes by. So yeah, sure. I would say that if you can't say no, then you'll have a very big problem. It's actually one of the biggest red flags when it comes to the finances. You must be able to say no. I can't do that. I can't do that. That isn't my principle. Yeah, sure. Like for example, you see, I told you guys that my principle is very simple. I cannot buy anything worth a thousand shilling. Without me planning, I have to squeeze it in my schedule. So even if you pull up to me with a very nice thing, I tell you, hey, how much is it? Oh, 1,200. I'm sorry. Maybe I get your number because I cannot buy anything worth 1,000 without me having a prior plan. Probably be like, what? Did you just say that? Yeah, sure. That's me, and I don't have to explain anything or more about that because I've also met people with the principles. They were kind of discouraged to me, but I respected them. I mean, it's about them. Anyway, it is what it is. Those are 5 red flags that says a lot as far as your finances are concerned. So be careful. If you have them, by the way, the good thing is that you can be able to avoid them, or you can, improve yourself or develop yourself, and you can be able to do something about it. That is it, guys. This is Good Joseph as always. If you need my services in one way or the other, go ahead, grab that number, shoot me a call or text. Let's talk business. See ya.